Westminster Academy, a private school. And this is a very interesting thing that's going on here, because what we're going to find, and what we're going to find quick, is that private schools are going to start to open up. And you know what's included in private schools are charter schools. And here in Florida, we have a hell of a lot of charter schools, don't we? Oh my goodness, do we have a lot of charter schools in Florida. So everything's going to be opened up soon enough. I read an article in the Palm Beach Post today. They're not opening up for in-person learning, but they're already putting a plan together for reopening. And it's all about money. You know, the school districts around the country that are run by Democrats, right? They want, you know, it's what Ted Cruz said. The Democrats want Americans to feel as much pain as possible. We're back. Everything's fine now, guys, right? They want people to feel as much pain as possible. And part of that is keeping the schools closed. Because if the schools are closed, a lot of people can't go back to work. You know the whole thing. I don't have to go through a list like Hannity. All right? But Trump talking about cutting federal funding to the school districts who are not reopening, and that makes sense. You don't need the lunchroom staff. You don't need the electricity. There's a lot of things. If you're doing distance learning, you don't even need a principal. You could have one principal run half a dozen schools or more, probably. The assistant principals that deal with discipline, well, they're not needed. Right? Distance learning, you can have larger classrooms. You know, so the fear that they're going to lose money has them reopening. See, they had this idea in their mind that they were going to be able to do this distance learning, not have schools open, and get all the money. Everyone was going to get paid just like they were going to work every day. And Trump said no. And when I saw Westminster Academy on television opening up yesterday on the local news, that was spectacular. I don't know how many other private schools are opening, but I imagine many others will. If they weren't, they'll be doing it today. They'll follow suit. It's so interesting because, you know, a private school is a business. Kelsey Grammer went to Pinecrest. That's right, Westminster. Kelsey Grammer went to Pinecrest. That's right. I misspoke. Shoot me. I was wrong about something, but I'm right about everything else. Private schools are a business, and like a business, they have customers. The customers are the parents of the students, right? And their customers told them, we need our kids in school. We want our kids in school. Let's open up. So they open up. And I'll tell you, private schools out there and charter schools, what an opportunity we are about to have. Trump said yesterday in this press conference earlier in the day on education, he didn't use the word, but he was talking about vouchers. He was talking about money following the student. He says the Democrats want the money to follow the teachers union. He says, you know, parents want to send their kid to a private school. They should get that money from the federal government that the public school would get so they can put it towards the tuition. And the way the voucher system works in Florida, for those that don't know, because we haven't been talking about vouchers in 100 years on this program, a private school, when they take a voucher, must accept that voucher for the entire tuition. So there's no, you know, balance for the parents to come up with. This is going to be the biggest boom for private school education and charter schools in this country that we've seen. So the public schools, when it comes down to money, you'll see, they'll start opening up. And we need the schools to open up. We need this country to get back to normal. America's fed up. You know, everywhere I go, and I go to a lot of places, people are fed up with the rules and the masks and the shutdowns. Everyone, it's America, it's a free country. People want to get back to work and get things back to as normal as possible. And Biden, when he came out there, 2 hours late, I think that he was 2 hours late because they were trying to wake him up. Pumping him full of Red Bull or something, I don't know. Whatever they did, it wasn't enough. But when Biden came out, he was talking about we're following the rules, doing what what we're supposed to do, right? No, your freedom of assembly gone, and they tell you what clothing, you know what I'm talking about. He started his speech yesterday about talking about taking freedoms away from people. Well, here's the deal. This country is so fed up, and I don't mean just people on the Trump train. When I saw parents dropping their kids off at Westminster Academy yesterday that were interviewed, they interviewed a couple of parents. believe me, they are not happy with what the Democrats are doing, which is keeping the schools closed, keeping our economy closed. Trump said it in the afternoon press conference yesterday. It's about politics. You know, the public school district is opening up in Jacksonville, Florida, and I'm sure there's other districts around Florida that are opening up too through their public schools. I know there are. I've seen some of the stories I watch local news in different parts of the state on YouTube, and I've seen people talking about it. All right, our number is toll-free, 1-888-GO-KANE, 1-888-465-2631. 888-465-2631. It's a toll-free call. You're on the radio. Good morning.
Hey, it's Mike and Boca.
Hey, Mike and Boca. You're on the air.
And Tuesday and yesterday with Biden and Kamala, that was so staged. It was terrible. That computer call when he had the Zoom.
Oh, I know.
And he's chatting to her. He's got a strip. He's got a phone like if someone was listening in, facing toward the computer, and it was so phony. And then yesterday, I put it on. I wasn't gonna put it on, but I wanted to hear it talk. But he was talking, and he sounded like a robot.
Well, you know, in that very strange Zoom call from Biden's home office, what I noticed most about it, the front of the desk, where, you know, that would be right in front of where people are sitting when they're sitting at the desk with Biden, was just a line of framed photographs of him. I mean, you know, if you went to my house, I think you'd be hard pressed to find a photograph of me anywhere, you know. And I've never seen such a strange thing before.
Yeah, I never said it too. It was like, what is this? Like am I 10 years older than my parents?
And I know sometimes people will have a couple pictures behind them. He had the entire front of the desk was lined up of pictures of Biden right on the front, so people sitting at the desk are looking at these pictures of him. It was very strange.
His kids, there was some of his kids.
But I think he was in them. He was in them with his kids. And you know, all this talk about Beau Biden, how do you think that makes Hunter feel when all Joe does is talk about the great Beau Biden, and he never talks about Hunter? Now we know why Hunter's, you know, on crack and getting strippers pregnant.
So yesterday I put it on. I don't fall asleep. So, but I don't know. Later I saw we had on Facebook the end of it, and I turned to her. So let me see if she's talking. And she was talking, and the best part was the end.
You're welcome to call in, Bizarro.
Because the music came on, and it was like an orchestra.
Uh-huh.
That song grew on up, and I was like, what is this thing? Jimmy Fallon, Johnny Carson, so like what?
They were playing "Moving On Up" from the Jeffersons. What was that about?
No, it wasn't. I don't know. I mean, I'm not. Maybe it's not the title of the song, but it was.
It sounded like it.
Yeah, it was a 70s Motown hit.
Yeah.
No, if you hear it, you're like, okay.
Mm-hmm.
It was so catchy. It was, and he had nothing. He brought up Charlottesville. Like, are you kidding me? Charlottesville? What about what's happened in the last 70 days?
Yeah.
To
And I'll tell you, if you watch Biden up there, his eyes were barely open.
Yeah, I mean, it was so phony. I mean, yeah, that was, you know, I would have been like, that in the end, they didn't like, they just kind of like, hugged each other. I'm like, come on. I'd give a hug or something. I mean, it was so.
You know, there's also, they keep showing this, oh, by the way, Mike and Boca, thanks for the call. They keep showing this photograph, a still photograph of Biden and Kamala Harris facing one another. Do you know this picture I'm talking about? That photograph is so inappropriate. It looks like they're going to kiss, like they're out on a date, or he just proposed or something. It looks like something, doesn't it? It's a very strange photograph. The one where they're face to face and they're all giddy. Very strange. All right, let's take our last break of the hour. I'm Brian Craig. You're listening to The Steve Kane Show. That's right. Florida's longest-running radio show. On the radio since 1977. We'll take that break and be back.
It's hurricane season again. This year, forecasters predict as many as 10 hurricanes. Are you prepared if a hurricane strikes?
Oh, okay.
Ace Hardware Deerfield and Beach Ace Hardware is your hurricane preparation location. You don't want to go through hurricane season without a generator. Ace carry generators for all size homes at prices to fit every budget. Once a hurricane is on television, generators are the first thing to sell out. But you will have the security of knowing you will not be without electricity if a hurricane hits. With your generator from Ace, you will have the security for every hurricane season to come. Ace also have an incredible selection of chainsaws to cut away the fallen debris. Ace Hardware Deerfield is just south of Hillsboro on the west side of US 1. Beach Ace Hardware is located at 232 Commercial Boulevard in Lauderdale by the Sea. Ace Hardware Deerfield and Beach Ace Hardware, your first stop for hurricane prep. And make sure you tell them you heard about them on the Steve Kane Show.
Ace is the place with the helpful hardware, folks.
Stop paying an outrageous fortune for your tires. Go easy on your budget and buy your tires at Friendly Tire in Margate, where they have all the major brands like Goodyear and Firestone at discount prices that absolutely can't be beaten. Steve Kane's tires for his Toyota van at the other shops, $175 a tire. At Friendly Tire, just $75 a tire. That's a $100 savings per tire. Tires for my daughter Emily's car, $135 at the shops around town. The price at Friendly Tire, only $65. That's a $70 savings per tire. These prices are out the door and on the road. Free mounting and balancing and no added charges. Friendly Tire have a great selection
Always
of good
something
used
with
tires
me.
too, starting at just $30 for most cars. Call my good buddy Friendly Mike at Friendly Tire. Tell him what you drive.
Steve
and
Kane
he'll
Show.
give you a great low price right
Hey.
over the phone. 954-977-9445. 954-977-9445. Online, friendlytire.net. Do you think you've come in contact with someone who has coronavirus? Steve Kane's wife Lori did, and she went to any lab test now of Coral Springs to find out if she has coronavirus.
So I came into contact with somebody who tested positive for COVID, and I was scared, and I needed results right away, so I went to any lab test now in Coral Springs. It was great. I didn't want to have to stay in line for 2 hours and have a swab stuck down my nose and in my brain. It was very pleasant. I made an appointment. They got me in within the hour. I was out of there within 20 minutes. Thank goodness the test was negative, and I can go back to work tomorrow. They also tested me for the antibodies, and I haven't been exposed. So do what I did. Go over to any lab test now of Coral Springs. They give great rates for Steve Kane listeners, and tell them we sent you.
It's worth 15 minutes of your time to have peace of mind and know that you and your family are safe. Any lab test now of Coral Springs is located at 955 North University Drive on the southeast corner of University and Ramblewood near the Coral Square Mall. You can call them at 954-906-5983. 954-906-5983. Any lab test now of Boca is in the Sandalfoot Plaza where the Western Beef is, south of Palmetto Park Road and north of Hillsboro. Call them at 561-237-5009. 561-237-5009. Make sure you tell them you heard about them on the radio.
Listen to the Steve Kane Show on iHeartRadio. Just search.
All right, Richie, you're on the radio.
Yeah, good morning. Yeah, I want to talk about Tucker Carlson. Guys got guts, man. The biggest thing I noticed about him compared to Hannity or any of the others, okay, when he has an interview, he doesn't change. You see the same Tucker, even if, like when he had that Avenatti or whatever his name was, he called him the creepy porn lawyer to his face. I mean, Tucker Carlson is fearless. And
Oh, yeah.
you know, he does it, and it's like this. You want to know about the press and CNN and MSNBC and the ones that are giving the numbers on the coronavirus? These people cropped that little piece of paper that Spike was reading when he had to call up and come out.
Yeah.
They cropped it.
Yeah.
When you watch the same thing on CNN and NBC, you don't see the little notes that how he has to speak to her. This guy is so out of it, it's incredible. Did you watch the Dan Bongino? I know you.
I listened to his podcast, Bongino.
Did you see it like yesterday?
No.
You see it? I mean,
I did not. Well, this is the thing that's going on with, difference between Tucker and Hannity. They're different styles, obviously, but they're also different mindsets. And Hannity and I was so impressed. I've liked Tucker for a long time. I didn't just discover Tucker Carlson last night, okay? But last night's show was so brilliant, and it really showed. I mean, I call him the most trusted man in America right now in media. He is the only, if there's Republicans, including the president, to be critical of, he'll be out there doing it. But this pep rally that went on with Kamala Harris, including on the Fox News channel most of the day yesterday, Tucker Carlson was the only person in cable news that put her in proper perspective, and nothing he said was inaccurate. And in fact, the clips he played, I have some of them. I might play them in the next hour. They were recent. This wasn't ancient history. He wasn't talking about like the Willie Brown thing back in the 80s and 90s and stuff. He was talking about things from 2019 and 2020.
Yeah, the night before, I don't know if you saw the show, the night before, he had that, I think it was Gerstein, or whatever his name is, the bald-headed lawyer from New York, the liberal. And when he asked him a question straight up, right off the bat, he says, you're pronouncing her name wrong and you're disrespecting her by pronouncing it wrong. And you do this to all liberals.
Yeah, I know, I saw that.
Yeah, you saw that. So then all of you saw all of the stations, CNN and NBC, they all jumped on top.
Yeah.
No respect whatsoever, and then Biden did this.
Yeah.
Hey,
Yeah.
I mean, Tucker shows them that they're fools, and they can't stick.
Well, and he's more secure than Hannity, so he doesn't have to impress people with his talent, his abilities, his connections. He's more secure about himself. So I think you find, he's not self-important. It's a little, you're right about Hannity. Hannity has about 4 hours of material packed into 1 hour, but there's also commercials. So that 1 hour is about, 43 minutes or something like that. It too many guests, too many issues, and everything else. And what Tucker Carlson did in that first segment on Kamala Harris was, I'm not talking about the name thing, okay? I'm talking about her being a radical person. Because, Chris Wallace yesterday on Fox said there's even people on this network who say she's radical, she's moderate. And he was, of course, talking about Judge Jeanine and Tucker and probably Hannity, too.
Yeah, I tell you something. She is one scary lady if you know her history. I mean, she went after the abortion people. She stormed.
Well, she came out yesterday in that opening speech and praised the looters, the Antifa BLMers that are trashing American cities right now. And by the way, they're trashing Democrat cities. That was one of the first things she said.
Well, I can say this to you, but they've been on the president's case for a long time. President Trump tells it the way it is, but he's not that articulate like Tucker Carlson.
Yeah.
I mean, if Tucker Carlson's mind and his voice could get into the heart of the president, there'd be no contest. I mean, because Tucker Carlson just reverses everything these people say. He puts it right out there and shows them.
Well, listen, the cable news cycle is a poison in this society right now, and it's between that and Twitter and the cable news cycle are two major poisons in our society right now that are causing so much division, and you don't get any true perspective of what's going on news-wise. And when Tucker Carlson had that segment, it was like, I hate to say that old phrase, a breath of fresh air, but it was kind of like that, because Fox News, Chris Wallace in particular, they're trying to get an interview with her. And since they want an interview with her, they're going to promote her and be very positive and suck up to her and everything to get the interview. There's two, between the news division and the nighttime editorial division, there's two different agendas. If you watch the news during the day, it's all about the guest. So they want to get the guest and to get, I'll tell you, I thought Donna Brazile yesterday. Did you see Donna Brazile?
No,
Okay. Donna Brazile was on yesterday, and Donna Brazile, I've not seen her zoom in from home in a while. she changed her house where she's Zooming from. She's been doing these Zoom Skype things for the past few months, and she's been in her living room, and she's got this little lap dog, and it's a very nice place. I mean, she's a wealthy woman. She's nothing wrong with that, but it's a very nice place. And it looks like she was, she shops at Pier 1 Imports or something. And yesterday, she was sitting in this small, tiny little room in her house, and she had these African masks on the wall behind her that were not in the living room, okay? It looked like she moved into her pantry. It had poor lighting with these African... I remember when O.J. Simpson was on trial, and they took the jurors to O.J. Simpson's house to tour the crime scene. Johnny Cochran went in there and put up all this African artwork so that the black jurors thought he was black and, could feel the struggle. That's what Donna Brazile did yesterday and you'll see, next time you see her on Fox, you'll all notice the African masks. Those were not there a while back, and someone told her living room looked too upscale and too white. So now she's got the African masks on the wall, which was so strange, I thought.
I'm going to tell you two other people that are great on Fox. Waters is really good, and Greg Gutso, who you in the beginning didn't like. And by the way, he had no surgery. While he was in quarantine, he had a Peloton. He lost over 30 pounds. That's where you see the difference. He's 30 pounds less. So it wasn't a fake job.
Yeah. Now, there's good people on Fox, but there's, there's, it all depends on everything is what you watch and what you listen to, right? And I guess at the times I'm watching, there's mostly liberal jerks on. Yeah.
The way Gutso's got a personal thing about this, because they destroyed his neighborhood. I believe it is New York. They destroyed his neighborhood, his property. He owns like a brownstone or something. It's worth like 1/3 of what it was.
Yeah. Well, everything in New York is probably worth about 1/3 of what it was before, with everything that's going on. All right, Richie. All right, take care, Richie. See, during Richie's call, those of you listening on the radio have no idea, I've been taking care of some technical thing on the side here. If you're watching it on YouTube, you've seen me off on the side doing something. I've always got something going on. Oh, I got to tell you, you saw that tropical depression I was telling you about yesterday. It's coming. Call Debbie at I Will Advisors, all right? Have her review your homeowner's insurance policy. Make sure that you have the hurricane coverage that you need and that you want, and that you're not paying too much for it. Once that hurricane hits, it's too late. When you call Debbie at I Will Advisors, she'll review your policy. It costs you nothing. She'll find out if you're paying too much. You probably are if you don't review it every year with Debbie at I Will Advisors. And when you go over your policy, in particular with the hurricane coverage, go through, ask her, is this covered? Is that covered? If I'm hit, will this be covered? Go through things in your home, on your property, that you want to make sure are covered in case a hurricane hits. Don't have any surprises. And I'll tell you another thing with Debbie and her team over at I Will Advisors. They will make sure that you have an advocate on your side in case that hurricane hits. After, you need an insurance company that's going to be there for you. You need an insurance agency that's going to advocate for you. Get that adjuster out there and get you paid. Not waiting around like a lot of people do. Call Debbie at I Will Advisors. This goes if you have a condo, a single family home, or even a business. If you own a commercial property, she can help you with that too. Oh, she also handles auto insurance. If you're paying too much for auto insurance, give her a call. She'll help you with that too. 954-753-8080. If you call now, leave a message. They'll call you back during business hours. If you're an overnight listener, you can call in the middle of the night if you like. Leave a message. Debbie and her team will call you during business hours. 954-753-8080. 954-753-8080. 1 hour down, 2 to go. We'll be back.
8.3 FM, 96.9 FM, 103.9 FM, and AM 1470. WWNN Pompano Beach is the Florida Money Talk Network.
Brian Craig here. When it comes to auto repair, you want a garage that you can trust. Someone that will only do work on your car when your car needs work. Introducing Champagne Automotive in Boca Raton, the latest sponsor of the Steve Kane Radio Show. Tom called in on the radio to tell us about his experience with Champagne Automotive.
Hi, this is Tom from Tamarack.
Hey, Tom from Tamarack, what's up?
I just want to tell you guys something. I spent the last 2 days trying to get brakes for my car. I was leaving the house yesterday to go try another place that had a lower price. They wanted $800 for brakes. And that advertisement came on for Champagne. I was in Western Tamarack. I said, let me take a drive up there. Well, I was almost blown over how friendly, honest, old school these people are.
Old school, that's really the term that really describes it.
But let me tell you, the guy I had gone to previously won $800. He says, well, you need to change your power steering fluid. And Ed, the owner, put the car up on the lift, pulled the wheels. He goes, you don't need brakes. And I about fell over.
Wow. Well, tell me the end of the story. You got me hooked.
So it wasn't that your vehicle was misdiagnosed at the other place. You were dealing with a crook.
Oh, absolutely. This guy wanted to sell me everything but a washing machine. I don't want that.
Now, this is our new sponsor. We have wanted for a long time to have an auto repair shop. When it comes to auto repair, that is the most difficult category for us to find as an advertiser, because most are like this guy you were dealing with the other day over in Tamarack, they're crooks. And we found Champagne Automotive. Ed, who's the owner, is a listener of the program. They come very, very highly recommended. So I appreciate you calling in and telling us the good story. Now, Champagne Automotive, they're in Boca off Spanish River Boulevard, immediately west of Dixie Highway. The number is 561-245-8101. 561-245-8101.
Hi, this is George Corey of the Soul Authority. In this time of social distancing and sheltering in place, many people have been forced to neglect their feet. We at the Soul Authority are making it possible for you to still take care of your feet while remaining in your home, as we will send a doctor to your house for all of your podiatric needs. The best part of all is that Medicare pays for this visit. So, if you're a Medicare recipient, give the Soul Authority a call today at 954-597-7060.
Oh my goodness. Sorry, I'm taking care of some personal crisis.
597-7060. Don't let social distancing stop you from...
That's unrelated to the show.
Call the Soul Authority today.
The Steve Kane Show.
I'm taking care of a personal crisis that has nothing to do with the show.
Veterans and spouses of veterans. You may be entitled to benefits that you are not aware
I know.
of, including long-term care benefits. Call attorney.
There's nothing worse than when you have something going on
and find out what benefits
and you can't deal with it when you're on the air. You know?
With offices in Boca Raton and Fort Lauderdale. Call toll free 1-855-FLA 3782. 1-855-FLA 3782. You are listening to South Florida's longest running radio show, The Steve Kane Show. To call the show toll free, dial 1-888-GO-KANE-1. That's 1-888-GO-KANE-1. And now, here's Steve.
All right, welcome back. My name is Brian Craig. This is the Steve Kane Radio Show, Florida's longest running radio show. Hour number 2 has begun. It's 4 minutes after the hour. You know, this is a little interesting thing that happened on CNN last June of 2019. Right? Different Democrats are talking about running for president. There's all kinds of craziness going on. And there was an exchange between Don Lemon and a panel, in particular Angela Ray on CNN. And Don Lemon was arguing with passion with Angela Ray that Kamala Harris is not African American, there is truth to that. There is truth to that. And I guess Don Lemon didn't think she was going to be the nominee at this time, and he'll be backtracking all over this. He'd have to apologize and put in context what he meant, and he didn't mean to hurt anybody or offend anybody. You know how this is going to go, but I still got it. This is June 2019. It's Don Lemon's program, and he is there with a whole panel, but the woman he's arguing with is Angela Ray. You guys know Angela Ray. Oh, my goodness. She's a beaut, I'll tell you that. All right, so listen to this. This is crazy talk. And this is the type of trouble that Kamala Harris is going to be running into. Listen to this.
Number one, she is a black woman. She's a mixed race woman. When you see her, you see her blackness, but she is also South Asian. Her mom is South Asian, and her dad is Jamaican.
April,
let me.
Oh, I'm sorry. I said Angela. This is April Ryan. I'm just misspeaking. I'm doing my Biden imitation today. I'm dealing with, just so for full disclosure, I was telling everybody on YouTube during the break, I am dealing with a personal crisis during the show today. It is totally unrelated to the show or anything. So if I sound distracted, that's probably because I am. It's April Ryan and Don Lemon. I apologize.
Number one, she is a black woman. She's a mixed race woman. When you see her, you see her blackness, but she is also South Asian. Her mom is South Asian, and her dad is Jamaican.
April, let me listen.
Yeah.
More power to her. And I think it's great. That should be enough. Listen, it is enough that she's a black woman.
We are not a monolith.
No.
Exactly. They did the same thing.
No. I think you're not hearing what people are saying. The people who are saying is she black enough, that's bull. That's BS. But to want a distinction to say, is she African American, or is she black, or is she whatever? There is nothing wrong with that. There is a difference between being African American and being black. Latino people are people of color, but they're not black. They're brown people.
She is a woman of color, but she is a black woman.
Okay, that's why I agree with that. I agree with that. But is she African American? No. But is she African American? There is a difference. There's nothing wrong with that. No one is trying to take anything away from her. I think you're falling into the trap of that. All she had to do was say, I am black, but I'm not African American. That's it.
Don, I think there's actually. I'm not falling in. Let me finish. Hold on. I'm not falling into a trap by that. When she goes down her lineage, many Africans landed in Jamaica and all these other Caribbean islands. So she could indeed be African American mixed with others, but she is
not America.
But she is a black woman. She was born here. Okay, well, let's go into Ted Cruz. Ted Cruz was born in Canada.
Ted Cruz. This is not about Ted Cruz. You're changing the subject.
But you know what? We can.
Okay, so now again, that was June 2019. Okay, so it was a year and a month ago. Don Lemon says she's not African American. She's not down with the struggle. That is going to become a very. That's April Ryan, by the way, that's there, and she's. I'm not sure who she's with because she left and she's with somebody else, but she's a White House correspondent, and April Ryan is the one who challenged Sarah Huckabee when Sarah Huckabee said she made holiday pies. April Ryan didn't believe her and wanted her to bake a pie to prove that she can bake pies. You remember that? Oh my gosh, I mean, she's a real piece of work. But that is the kind of problem Kamala Harris is going to run into, okay? Because right now, there is this fake racial struggle thing going on right now. And she's not African American according to CNN's Don Lemon. I'm not saying that. Don Lemon's saying she's not American. She doesn't have the history of the struggle. Her parents are not from America, Jamaican and Indian. They don't have the experience. She doesn't come from that experience. She can't relate to that experience. She is a woman of color, but she's not an African American. You put that up against the fact that she put thousands of black men and women in prison for marijuana crimes, which are now legal in big parts of the country, and something she said she did, marijuana, when she was on the Breakfast Club show. This is something that's going to come back. You know, these radical leftists that are involved in these demonstrations, the BLM, Antifa people, these are not Democrat people. They might vote Democrat if they bother to vote. These are radical revolutionaries that are trying to collapse the American system. And part of the American system they want to collapse is what? The prison system. The racist prison system as they view it. And she's a big part of it. She's a part of what they call the industrial prison complex. They talk about this all the time. If you listen to liberals talk, if you listen to liberals on CNN and MSNBC, they talk about this stuff quite openly. It's just most of you probably watch Fox or One American News or something, and you don't hear them talk about this. But this is a big issue. What she did is a big issue to them. She's got a huge problem with the base. So I've got some other audio here that I want to play for you. Some of this is from Tucker Carlson last night. Okay? Not all of it, but some of it is from Tucker Carlson. And this is just the beginning, the tip of the iceberg. And what I really like about it is she's only been in the Senate for, 3 years? But the entire time she's been in the Senate, she's been front and center in front of TV cameras, and she ran in the Democrat primaries last year, so she was all over the place saying all kinds of things, trying to win the primaries. And a lot of this stuff is coming back to haunt her. This one exchange she had with the ICE agent, this is one of the things Tucker Carlson played last night. I mean, this is some hardcore radicalism. This is Kamala Harris. This is a Senate hearing, and she's got people there testifying from ICE, and she's questioning an ICE agent.
The plan was what we would call today a domestic terrorist group.
Why would we call them domestic terrorist group?
Because they tried to use fear and force to change political environment.
And what was the motivation for the use of fear and force?
It was based on race and ethnicity.
Right. Are you aware of the perception of many about how the power and the discretion at ICE is being used to enforce the laws? And do you see any parallels?
Okay. So, and then when he goes to answer, she reclaims her time and doesn't let him answer. That's what they do in these hearings. And, of course, she's talking about what was going on at the southern border at the time. Big, comparing ICE agents to the Klan. Does that sound moderate, Chris Wallace? We're going to find in a very short time a long list of radical statements like that. Now, to the radical base, they might like hearing those things, okay? But what has happened in this country this year, what has happened in this country this year with the economic shutdown, when people want to get back to work and get their kids back in school, and you have the Democrats keeping things shut down for what I think is perceived by most people as an election tactic. I think most people, there's all that talk, there's the people that are decided, like me and most of you that listen to this program. We don't have any undecided voters that listen to talk radio. That's a very rare thing. Or that follow the news. If you follow the news, listen to talk radio, you're decided. The undecided are people that don't follow politics. They go and vote, and they don't follow. And this is what they know, okay? This is what they know. They can't take their kids to school, which means they have no one to watch their kids while they're going to work. Or they work someplace that's shut down and out of business now. Or their hours have been cut. There's all kinds of problems. And who's fighting to keep everything closed? The Democrats. So you're telling, I haven't heard any discussion about the undecided voter in all this election talk. None. Have you heard any discussion on any program about the undecided voter? The undecided voter are voting Republican this time around without question because of this punishment that Democrats are putting on people. I'm so interested to see the local elections here in South Florida in these Democrat strongholds of Broward and Palm Beach County. Broward County, Palm Beach County, a lot of Democrats. And, I live in Palm Beach County. I spend most of my time in Palm Beach County, but I jump the border to Broward from time to time. And there is a very big difference in Broward and Palm Beach so far as things go. Things are much stricter in parts of Broward County than they are in Palm Beach, no doubt about it. But anytime I go to a business, whether it's in Broward or Palm Beach, people are annoyed at these local mandates for masks or the things that are shut down. I drove by yesterday on Hillsborough Boulevard. There's a private license tag place on Hillsborough Boulevard. I've gone there to renew my tags from time to time, and I don't know what it's called, but you guys know what I'm talking about. It's west of I-95. Because of the social distancing, there was a line out the door of the place, wrapping around the parking lot. I couldn't even see the end of the line. It was so long because of the social distancing. And people are standing out in the Florida heat. People are already annoyed when they have to go and renew their license plates or something. You know how annoying that can be. When for whatever reason you can't do it through the mail, you got to go physically do it in person. And I saw these people standing out in the hot Florida sun, and I don't know, it could be raining, and it's like this every day. Do you think those people are pissed off? Do you think the people that are, I've seen several stories in the local news lately about people renewing their driver's licenses. That there's a lot of people that are driving around with expired driver's licenses because of the social distancing guidelines and all of these shutdowns. They can't get their licenses renewed in person, and they have to go in person. Luckily, I renewed mine this year, and I could do it by mail. I didn't have to go in person. I got very lucky with that, but a lot of people, for whatever reason, have to go in person, and they can't go, or it takes even longer than normal to go to the DMV. You know, the Democrats who have kept so many aspects of the economy shut down to try to hurt President Trump. You know, because they got together, they never let a good crisis go to waste, and boy, did we have a crisis this year. And they just have never been able to understand why people don't hate Donald Trump as much as they do. And they told themselves in the meeting, well, it's the economy. The economy is doing so well, people vote their pocketbooks, so let's keep everything shut down that we possibly can. That'll turn people against him. That's the whole thing with Stormy Daniels. That was out there because they figured, well, you know, those Trump voters are a bunch of Christians. And those Christians, those right-wing Christians, they're not going to, you know, once we get, you know, everything is a scheme to try to turn us against them. But it turns people against them. And these people that can't renew their license, or that I see wrapped around the parking lot waiting to renew their tag all day. You know, people driving around with expired driver's licenses because they can't, or they can't take their kids to school, or, you know, maybe they, you know, their kids are old enough to stay home, but they can't afford school supplies or new clothes for their kids because they've been out of work because of the Democrats. What sector of the economy is hospitality? With all the bars closed and other parts of the economy that are connected to that shut down, there are a lot of people out of work. They cannot afford the basic necessities of life, and they can have a suspension of foreclosures and evictions, but eventually the rent's going to come due. The banker's going to come knocking for the mortgage. It's actually making things worse. Are the banks going to just add on 12 months at the end of mortgages? Are landlords going to just forget about that rent for a year? You know, the landlord still has to pay the property insurance and the property taxes on their rental property. I don't know. You know, and all this is happening because of Democrats. And I think that undecided voter group know it. They feel it. I think they're ticked off. And, you know, this red tsunami that people are talking about, this very well could be the biggest Republican victory in history, because the Democrats trying to hurt Trump by hurting the economy have really hurt themselves. All right, if you're on hold, stand by. I'll answer the phones during the break. My name's Brian. It is coming up on 19 minutes after 7 o'clock in the morning. You're listening to the Steve Kane Radio Show. Our number is toll-free, 1-888-GO-KANE-1, 888-465-2631, 888-465-2631. We'll be back right after this.
You've seen the ads on TV, and you've heard your friends tell you about MyPillow.
Steve Kane Show.
Guaranteed the most comfortable pillow you will ever own. Right now at MyPillow.com, when you use the promo code KANE,
here comes a troll, I can tell.
At checkout, buy one MyPillow, get one for free. But you have to use the promo code KANE, K-A-N-E, at MyPillow.com for this incredible offer. Buy one MyPillow, get another one free. Go to MyPillow.com right now. Use the promo code KANE, K-A-N-E.
This is Steve Kane, and I wanted to share with you some thoughts about why I chose the Gardens of Boca Raton to be my final resting place. I have always been uncomfortable with thoughts of death and dying, but the very first time that I visited the Gardens of Boca Raton, I could feel my apprehensions vanish. Just knowing that I'd be spending eternity with my family in such magnificent surroundings lifted my spirits. The Gardens of Boca Raton is an all-faith,
okay, this is going to be troll time, I can tell.
Surroundings, a place where your loved ones can come.
Let me answer these. Steve Kane Show. Hang on. Steve Kane Show. What's your name? Okay. Steve Kane Show, what's your name? Eva, huh?
their grief and sorrow. The Gardens of Boca Raton, dedicated to all those who have lived and all those who live today. Let the Gardens take care of your family as they are taking care of my family. Schedule a tour today. Call 877-PLAN-561 or online at thegardens.com. Tell them Steve Kane sent you.
Listen to the Steve Kane Show on iHeartRadio. Just search for WW.
Yeah, you know, when you go over to the Gardens, ask them to show you Steve Kane's crypt. They'll take you over there, and Steve's name is on it. It's been up there for years. You can take a selfie with it. If you do, post it to Instagram and tag us, or email it to me, and I'll put it on Instagram, all right? Okay, let's go to the phones. You're on the radio. Good morning.
Hi. Yes, sir. I think your radio show is really, really good. I think you're like a national talent.
Oh, thank you.
National talent, yes, because I've been hearing you for years. Steve Kane Show. But, I just want to make a comment about the Broward race for the Republican Party. I really think DiNapoli is the best candidate and the most professional and the smart.
I couldn't understand what you said. The what? About the Broward race? I'm having a hard time understanding you. You're kind of mumbly sounding.
Okay.
I heard all the compliments. I appreciate those, but the rest I'm not able to hear.
Big committee man race for Republican Party, and Richard DiNapoli is the smartest and the most professional and the most knowledgeable of all the state committee men candidates. There's some real clowns that are going against him, so I'm just kind of.
No, I don't know. I mean, I don't know. What is this him? I mean, I don't know who he is. The name sounds familiar, but I don't know. We don't really do too much on local elections on the program. But you know, we're open to do them. I mean, it's not that we don't do them. But, you know, Republicans have written off Broward County for years. And now that we don't have the corrupt election supervisors any longer, you know, we have a chance to have some free and fair elections in Broward County for the first time in a long time. Since the Jane Carroll days.
It does make a huge difference for the state if just Republicans show up to vote. That's the key factor, because there are more Republicans here than the counties in Florida. So if they just show up to vote, like there's a primary on the 18th, and then, you know, November 3rd, it wins Florida, literally. Was lost because of that, and Rick Scott, you know.
That's right.
For that, so.
Yeah. I mean, the only local race I'm really following is Laura Loomer for Congress, who I'm voting for. You know, and that's a very, very important race. The Republican establishment are working against Laura Loomer. And, you know, the sheriff's race, we got this primary next week, the Democrat primary, the current sheriff running against Scott Israel. And Scott Israel probably is likely to be the sheriff again.
But Wayne Clark is really good. He's a businessman, and he's for the GOP. He can win, but it's unfortunate these people want to, because of partisan loyalty to Democrat Party, are going to vote for sheriff, you know, for Israel again after what happened.
Well, I don't, you know, listen here. I don't live in Broward. I'm not voting, and I'm not a Democrat. But I'm not a fan of any Democrat. But Scott Israel, he wasn't at the school in Parkland when the shooting happened. I would not put Scott Israel in the same boat as I would put that cop that hid and called in the fake radio calls. You know,
I hear you. He is the buck stops with him though, and he trains people and everything.
Well, the thing about that is, you know, Ron DeSantis was kind of put in a he wanted the endorsement from you know, the Parkland parent that wanted Israel out. So I love Ron DeSantis. He's probably going to be our vice president one day, maybe president. But Ron DeSantis made a deal, and he ran on this idea that he was going to remove Scott Israel, and he did it. And I don't think that was necessarily the right thing to do. I think they maybe should have let the voters decide that, and that rubs people the wrong way, you know. And since he was removed, what changes have been made in the system by the sheriff that he appointed? Maybe there's been a ton of them, but I don't know of them. And the kid, The kid that the monster, that animal that shot up the place and murdered all those children, he's still waiting trial. So I don't know if Scott Israel should have been removed by the governor. I don't know about that.
Mass shootings during his time, and I believe.
What was the second one? We had the Parkland. What was the other one?
The airport.
The airport, I was there. I was there when that happened. Picking my mother up at the airport, and I literally left the terminal at baggage claim less than 10 minutes before it happened and was out of there. I got lucky. I would have been stuck there all day. That wasn't Scott Israel's fault. That was the FBI had that guy in questioning in Alaska. They had confiscated his gun. They let him go and gave him his gun back. And you're allowed, at least at that time, you were allowed to check weapons. I did not know this, in your carry-on luggage. And he did an attack unlike one that had ever been done before. It sounds like I'm defending Scott Israel. I'm not, but I mean, I'm not going to blame somebody for something because they're a Democrat. Scott Israel was not responsible for that airport shooting. I'm sorry to tell you.
Book stuffs with him, and I don't like his anti-gun rhetoric because I'm a big Second Amendment guy.
I was at the CNN town hall meeting after the Parkland shooting. I went over there with Loomer, and I didn't think I thought Scott Israel was inappropriate there. When he started yelling, "It's about the guns," he was. I was very disappointed in him there, but
The sheriff, they're once Republican and then they become Democrat. Just like I heard Scott Israel was that way as well. So he's playing up a role or something. I don't know where he's.
Well, he's probably going to be the sheriff. Although they had a couple months ago. I even had a guest on about this. They had all these weird stories about the current sheriff, Tony, and then that disappeared. And I haven't seen any updates or really any other negative reporting about Sheriff Tony since those original stories came out about that club he was in with the wife, in Miami. And I thought it was very interesting that they seemed to have laid off on that, because that story it seemed to have a lot of legs. Even if they had no new developments, they could have been playing that out for months. I don't know why that was dropped.
Yeah, I agree. I don't know either. Maybe they think that it's in the bag for Israel. That's everybody probably thinks that Israel's going to win now. But
most people I talk to think Scott Israel will win the primary, and it's assumed whoever wins the Democrat primary is the sheriff, and that's very possible and likely.
Right, but I believe Wayne Clark is really good, and
I'm sure there's a lot of good guys. All right, listen, I appreciate the call. Thanks so much. Don't be a stranger. You're on the radio. Good morning.
Good morning. How you doing?
All right.
One of those people that have their driver's license renewed. It's really, really horrible. I'm glad you mentioned that. I mean, that's really dumb. They say make an appointment. You go online, and there's no appointments. I mean, I've been doing this now for 2 months. It's getting.
Is your license expired?
No, it's going to expire.
Yeah, there's a lot of people on the roads right now with expired licenses because they can't get in to renew them. You can't get out.
Why don't they think out of the box, put a tent outside the parking lot, and have social distance, and put a few people with some laptops and renew them that way? You know what I mean?
I had one good experience at the DMV. I went to the DMV, and I had to go in person, and that could be an all-day thing. And the girl working at the DMV I went to high school with, oh my goodness, it was the best. I mean, I was there 5 minutes. I was out.
A few hours is no problem. You do it every.
Yeah, but I've seen these stories about the driver's license renewal, and this auto tag agency I drive by. I feel there are people that have to go to the tag agency every day for business purposes. People are fed up.
Sound, I figure let me drive up there.
No, good idea.
They won't take you. They won't take these. Only their own county. I mean, and the same thing with the.
What county are you in? Where do you live in?
I'm in Pompano, Berkeley.
Oh, you're in Broward. You got to go within your county. Yeah.
These people are impossible.
I was going to say, if you were in Palm Beach, you could head out to Belglade or Pahokee or something. It's worth the drive to save the time to get it done.
Belglade in Palm Beach County?
Belglade's in Palm Beach, Pahokee, Palm Beach.
Yeah. As long as you have to be in the county you're in.
Oh, I did not know that. I got lucky. I had to renew my license on my birthday in April, and I was able to do it through the mail. And man, was I lucky.
They closed it, I think, in the middle of March.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
You might do it through the mail.
But, you know, the reason I bring this up is I believe, and this is going on nationwide, not just here, I believe people are fed up with things like you're talking about, and they view the Democrats as the ones that are causing them this major inconvenience in their life, in every aspect of their life. And that's going to translate on Election Day to work against them.
It's like that, another show I watched, it says good track, bad track. They want to make believe that we're in a bad track with the current administration.
Yeah. You know, Biden said something yesterday. If anybody knows what he was referencing, please tell me. Biden said yesterday that President Trump is coddling terrorists. He said in his, when he was in the gym. And why does Biden always have his events at high school gyms? He wants to take Trump behind the gym. He's always in gyms. But no, he said yesterday that Trump is coddling terrorists. What is he talking about? Do you know what he could be referencing?
Don't even talk about the crazy people.
Well, that's the nominee there, you know.
Yeah, look, I'm a New Yorker. I was in New York about 20 years ago. I always voted Democrat. I even voted for Obama once the first term. Thought it was cool to have somebody very intellectual, good speaker, whatever. And now I'm a Republican, big time. But the Democrat Party.
What turned you to become a Republican?
Well, the whole issue. I mean, I make money making money, and I started from scratch like everybody else. And they seem to always have their hand out for things.
That's right. They want to take your money. Yeah.
And they have for you and me. If you get up, I used to get up 5:30 in the morning, 5 o'clock in the morning, go to work.
That's right.
Even earlier.
I do. 3:30.
And the bottom line, I'm still like investing and doing things.
Listen, I gotta run for a break, but I'm glad you walked away from the Democrat Party. Take care. All right, 33 minutes after the hour. You're listening to Florida's longest running radio show, The Steve Kane Show, on the radio since 1977. We'll be right back.
9.3 FM, 96.9 FM, 103.9 FM, and AM 1470. WWNN Pompano Beach is the Florida Money Talk Network.
This is Brian Craig, and I want to tell you about Dr. Mitch Matez at the Boca Raton Center for Age Management. He's my anti-aging doctor. That's right. I have an anti-aging doctor now.
Hey.
I was starting to slow down a bit. I met with Dr. Matez, and he found that my testosterone level was low. We men begin losing our testosterone starting at age 30, and it goes down every year after that. Dr. Matez told me I was approaching the beginning of andropause. That's the male equivalent of menopause. I began bioidentical hormone pellet therapy. They're tiny little pellets inserted under my skin. And now my testosterone levels are being restored to where they were when I was 25 years old. Thanks to Dr. Matez, I have more energy, I feel better, I look better, my love life, it's better, and my wife, she's thanking Dr. Matez too. Bioidentical hormone pellet therapy isn't just for men, it works wonders for women by reversing the symptoms of menopause, like the night sweats and the mood swings. Men and women, you don't have to live with the negative effects of aging, like loss of energy, loss of sexual desire, weight gain, or menopause. Call Dr. Matez and meet with him about bioidentical hormone therapy. It works for me, and it'll work for you too. He's located in Boca, and his website is hormonetherapybocaraton.com. Or give him a call, 561-953-5490. 561-953-5490. And tell him Brian Craig sent you.
The Steve Kane Show is brought to you by Attorney Barry Siegel at the Siegel Law Group. Are you concerned with the distribution of your assets at the time of your passing? Avoid probate. Call the Siegel Law Group with 9 offices throughout South Florida, from Palm Beach Gardens to Coral Gables. Call toll-free 1-855-FLA-3782.
Listen to The Steve Kane Show on iHeartRadio. Just search for WW.
All right, I'm Brian. You're listening to The Steve Kane Show. Only one opening on the board right now at 1-888 Go Kane 1. Good morning, Steve. Good. I knew you were there. I could hear you. I could hear you in the Q speaker during the break. We have only one opening on the board at 1-888 GO Kane 1, Kane. K like Kamala and the number 1. You want to take some calls? Yeah, we'll see. Well, I'm not going to vouch for the quality of the calls, but we've got calls. All right, you're on the radio. Good morning.
Good morning, Brian. It's Jeff from Maine.
Jeff in Maine. How are you?
Good. Hey, I flipped over to the NBC, CBS, ABC, and there's no excitement, no great announcement of Vice President Kamala Harris, Biden's pick. You know what the talk is about? Corona. They're talking about Corona and the death. I believe they're going to try to blow this up again, and we know.
Well, wait a minute. They had this historic pick yesterday. And why would they not be? Something happened on the mainstream media, the liberal media, live on TV the day before yesterday when the announcement came out about Kamala. And some of the reporters were live on the air, and they got text messages about the announcement from the campaign. You might have seen some of this. And it turned out that those text messages were sent out to donors asking for money. So these people that got the text messages live on the air about the announcement are not just media people, but they're also donors to Biden. So no one picked up on that, but I did. What was it? Hey, Steve, maybe Jeff, you know too. Biden said yesterday that Trump is coddling terrorists. What was he referencing?
No idea. It makes no sense to me.
What do you think, Jeff?
He's done more against terrorists than the last 3 administrations.
Yeah, it was very strange.
I'll ask you a question kind of to you and to the audience as a whole. I've become disturbed the last couple of days. Trump is reinventing these news conferences or whatever he does at between 5 and 6 o'clock. And the last couple of times, including yesterday, was really bad. He is just
Steve Kane Show.
Asleep. It's like his
Steve Kane Show.
God knows what his schedule is.
Hey, hold on.
He's going like a mad person. I mean, he's obviously very busy. But it's like
Michael.
He crashes.
Hey, Sarah.
I know that because I had a similar experience in my days because I sleep intermittently and my sleep is not regular. Now there'll be a certain time of day it comes and I just kind of crash.
Yeah, 5, 6 o'clock isn't Trump's time. Yeah.
Not his time, and somebody that could be handled if the campaign recognized it as a problem. They should try to just schedule so he's awake.
Well, he should. I agree with you. I've noted, and this was, by the way, this was true of the press conferences months ago because he gets up so early in the morning. He should have his press conferences around 11.
Schedule has to be rearranged so that at 5 o'clock he's awake.
Yes.
Comes back. I mean, after he'll be sleepy at 5 o'clock and he'll go for about an hour, and then he gets his energy back.
Yeah.
It's a second win.
Yeah.
But we can't afford to have him more sleepy than Biden at 5 o'clock when he.
No, you're right.
On a regular scheduled basis.
I agree with you on that one.
Hey.
I wondered why.
What about you, Jeff?
Yes, I wonder why they do it at 5 when everybody's getting off work and having supper. Why don't they a little later?
He wants to try to have the evening news cycle. The primetime news cycle.
But they're not. That would be fine. There's nothing basically wrong with the 5 o'clock time slot except that his body clock sinks at 5 o'clock. If they could bring him on at 6 or maybe 6:30.
Or 11 a.m. 11 a.m. would be more like it.
Especially since so much of the campaign is our attack on Biden being sleepy.
Yeah.
It kind of undercuts our basic theme.
Did you hear anybody other than me mention that Biden was 2 hours late yesterday? He was supposed to be out at 3, came out at 5. And
already seems to be having minor problems.
Well, I think they spent those 2 hours trying to wake him up. I'm not kidding. I'm not joking. And when he came out, his eyes were closed. His eyes were closed when he came out.
Very difficult. I mean, I empathize with Trump a lot because I get the same thing when I come on. Sometimes, I usually come on 7:30, and sometimes I'm just not awake. And the light goes on here with the mic, and I'm really still half asleep. And it takes me 15, 20 minutes to my body system's going. But somebody should, I keep having this fantasy. There are people within the Trump administration that listen to this show.
It's not a fantasy. They do. I know they do.
I've never really heard anybody other than you and I, Brian, point that out as a problem.
Yeah. No, I know. I agree with you. All right, Jeff. Appreciate the call. All right. Thanks so much. You're on the radio. What's your name? Where are you calling from? Oh, sorry. There you go. Good morning. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Who, me?
It's you.
Sounds like you.
Oh, hey. Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't think I had the radio off. Hey, my name is Marty. I'm calling from Fort Lauderdale.
Yeah, Marty.
Some of the points you guys made, especially with the caller, I believe it was yesterday, talking about, you and your party. Everybody's so divided via just the two parties, and nobody's really looking and seeing. And let's go back before Trump. Now, both sides, both Republican and Democrat, are sponsored by the same big financiers that no matter who wins, they win. And Trump only jumped on the Republican ticket because in the last 100-something years, it's been the only two parties been able to make it into the presidency.
That's true.
And so many people, and you guys keep stressing about the Democrats. Well, and I'm completely against them and all the crap that they're doing. But how come the Republicans, if they're so good, how come they're not jumping up and making the complaints filed and the lawsuits brought up and
they've got all kinds of things going. They're fighting. They've got a case now concerning the bulk mail-in voting that's headed for the Supreme Court. We do a lot of litigation. They don't talk about it as much, but they do it. We do it.
It's crazy how everybody's so divided by just the two parties as opposed to looking at the bigger picture of everything, and it keeps the infighting against that way to where nothing gets accomplished really, and especially amongst the people,
Well, I don't know. I think we're accomplishing a lot. I think under the circumstances, what Trump has been able to do with the economy is nothing short of miraculous. The stock market is practically back to where it was before the virus came in.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it's unbelievable.
And by the way, that's the poll to look at. These big hedge fund guys, these big bankers, if they thought Biden was going to win this election or even had a chance to win this election, they'd be selling off. There'd be big sell-offs. It's true. They know.
They keep talking that Biden's like a 2-1 favorite.
Look at the market.
The market really belies that. I don't think that's true.
I mean, we have. Do you realize? Mark Levin put it this way the other day, caller. I didn't think about it this way, but I heard Mark Levin say this over the weekend. In this pandemic, when we have California shut down, New York City shut down, do you know we have 90% employment in America? 90% employment under Donald Trump. It's a miracle.
No, he's done phenomenal that way. But then again, on the other hand, the stock market's controlled pretty much completely. I mean, they threatened him so many times with we don't do this, we don't do that. We'll plunge the stock market. So, I mean, it's so controlled even on that thing, man. And Trump's doing a phenomenal job. I got everything for him. Believe me, it's not the Trump bashing all at all. It's just they're kind of bringing out certain points that people aren't really looking at because they're too one-sided, looking one way.
Yeah.
Looking at, everybody should step back and instead of saying, I see it my way or your way, step back as a neutral party.
Mm-hmm. Well, there are not a lot of neutrals in this.
Well, hey, let's take one more call before the break. You're on the radio. Good morning.
Good morning, Conservative Doug.
Oh, yes, Doug.
Doug, how you doing?
Okay, well, when I watched Biden and Harris, I thought I was in an alternative universe. The universe I know, they're criminals, do nothing, waste, and they sounded like they were in a...
Why do you... Let me ask you, maybe you know the answer to this, Doug. Why is it that Joe Biden is obsessed with high school gyms? Yesterday he was in a gym. He wants to take Trump behind the gym. Almost every time he speaks, he's in a gym. What is it with Biden and gyms? He seems to like them a lot.
It seems like, I don't know, but it seems like he can't even get anybody's company.
Do you know that, Steve, this is how organized the Biden-Harris campaign are. They didn't even have the air conditioning on in that gym. I read this morning. I mean, they're even a minor thing like nobody thought to switch on the AC. They want to run the country.
Troop over there, I don't think they know what they're doing.
Sure they do.
I think certainly the hedge fund people listening to Bernie Sanders know that Bernie Sanders wants to
Okay, someone in the chat room I usually don't talk about the chat room too much on the air, but this one. A liberal guy in the chat room just said the president doesn't control the stock market. The stock market is a futures market based on what the economic projection of this country is like. And when you have a guy running in Biden who's going to raise taxes and outlaw entire sectors of the economy like the fossil fuel industry,
Obviously, of course, the stock market, as Brian says, deals with futures.
Thanks for the call, Doug.
Dealing with the future, you're speculating. But there is no question in my mind that if, God forbid, I don't even like the words to pass my lips, but if, God forbid, Biden ever won this election, you would see the bottom fall out of the market.
Or if they thought he was going to, because the entire fossil fuel industry is in trouble, and other areas, and he's going to raise taxes and capital gain, all that stuff. People would start taking care of business now as a projection, because once people realize a change like that, they do a mass sell-off.
So Trump losing this race, you'd see it hit the market. They wouldn't wait till the last minute.
No.
The market would start to get very shaky, weeks before the election.
Yeah. All right, listen, we got to take our break. We'll be right back. You're listening to The Steve Kane Show. Our number toll-free, 1-888-GO-KANE-1. We'll be back right after this.
5.3 FM, 96.9 FM, 103.9 FM, and AM 1470. WWNN Pompano Beach is the Florida Money Talk Network.
Brian Craig here. When it comes to auto repair, you want a garage that you can trust. Someone that will only do work on your car when your car needs work. Introducing Champagne Automotive in Boca Raton, the latest sponsor of the Steve Kane Radio Show. Tom called in on the radio to tell us about his experience with Champagne Automotive.
Hi, this is Tom from Tamarack.
Hey, Tom from Tamarack, what's up?
I just want to tell you guys something. I spent the last 2 days trying to get brakes for my car. I was leaving the house yesterday to go try another
I'll
place
answer when we
at
get back.
a lower price. They wanted $800 for the brakes, and that advertisement came on for Champagne. I live in Western Tamarack. I said, let me take a drive up there. Well, I was almost blown over how friendly, honest, old school these people are.
Old school, that's really the term that really describes it.
But let me tell you, the guy I had gone to previously wanted $800. He says, well, you need to change your power steering fluid. And Ed, the owner, put the car up on the lift, pulled the wheels. He goes, you don't need brakes. And I about fell over.
Wow. Well, tell me the end of the story. You got me hooked.
So it wasn't that your vehicle was misdiagnosed at the other place. You were dealing with a crook.
Oh, absolutely. This guy wanted to sell me everything but a washing machine. I don't want that.
Now, this is our new sponsor. We have wanted for a long time to have an auto repair shop. When it comes to auto repair, that is the most difficult category for us to find as an advertiser, because most are like this guy you were dealing with the other day over in Tamarack. They're crooks. And we found Champagne Automotive. Ed, who's the owner, is a listener of the program. They come very, very highly recommended. So I appreciate you calling in and telling us the good story. Now, Champagne Automotive, they're in Boca off Spanish River Boulevard, immediately west of Dixie Highway. The number is 561-245-8101. 561-245-8101.
Listen to the Steve Kane Show on iHeartRadio. Just search for WW.
All right, we're back. See, there was a huge protest yesterday that did not make the news. I saw it online, and not on any of the news. In Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, which is important because that's a battleground state. It was in Pittsburgh. There was a mass demonstration, a huge demonstration of parents demanding that they reopen the public schools and get their kids back in. Well, that's another little bit of a poll, because Pennsylvania, they keep wanting to tell us that Pennsylvania is going to vote for Biden, so they shut down Pennsylvania coal country, And when you've got parents in Pittsburgh standing up against Democrats to reopen the schools, that says a lot. Especially, that's why Trump, he had that press conference yesterday early about the schools reopening. He knows.
We're on the right side of the school issue, that's for sure.
We're on the right side of every issue. That's a big one. That's a very big one, the schools. Did you catch Biden and Kamala yesterday?
I watched most of this stuff. It gets so repetitious, and you can tell it's geared towards people who don't know what the hell is going on.
Yeah.
People like, God bless her, my sister, who's, gets all her information from CNN and MSNBC and Rachel Maddow. Saying things like, Trump has tanked the economy. That's intended. That targets people that don't follow the news and don't know what's going on. Because it's just nothing could be further.
Yeah, I think it's more, people that watch exclusively MSNBC or CNN, they're liberals and they're disciples of liberalism, and they hear what they want to hear. No one in their right mind thinks Trump tanked the economy. He saved the economy.
When you say in their right mind, because a lot of these people basically they're just delusional.
But they were going to vote Democrat anyway. I was talking earlier about how people are being inconvenienced. These long lines, all of it. People are pissed off that things are not back to normal yet. They're pissed off about it, and I think they blame Democrats. They don't blame Trump. Trump's trying to open everything up.
I think the most likelihood is that, I'm still hoping and praying that this is going to be a massive landslide. Because I think there is a tremendous amount of anger built up out there, and I think people can't wait to get it off their chest in the voting booth.
Oh yeah. If you want, when Biden came out, the first thing he said yesterday, with his eyes barely open, he said, doing what we're told. You know what I mean? First thing he said was, that was vote for me and the lockdowns will continue. That's what he said. That's what he said. And he and Kamala came out wearing masks. People want to move beyond that. Anywhere I go, people are itching to get out of the mask.
Whatever they did yesterday, they're difficult circumstances. There's no getting around that. But I'm wondering if there must be another way of doing it other than what we saw yesterday. I can't believe that Republicans will not watch what happened yesterday and make adjustments in our plans for our convention. We have the benefit of going last. And because what I saw yesterday was it was awful.
And they didn't. Well, they had the reporters there in the high school in Biden's gym, and they didn't take any questions from even their liberal friends in the media yesterday, Kamala or Biden. And there's a lot of speculation on that, and I think it's because Biden's too tired. They had to get him out of there. When he introduced her, he was out of gas.
I don't know. He did not screw up yesterday. See,
he mispronounced her name.
When they were talking about it, speculating about how it might go, we're all expecting one of these Joe-isms, to come out, and most of them are related to race. These major gaffes, but it didn't happen yesterday. He got through it presentably. There were no embarrassing moments. I didn't think.
He did mispronounce her name, but other than that, no. I was hoping for more, other than being sleepy.
Interesting thing. If I was coaching Biden, which of course I'm not, they ought to have Biden away from the race issue. If you stop and think about all his major quote-unquote gaffes, all of them are related to his feelings about black people, because he is a bigot.
Oh, yeah.
There's no getting around that. And the real bad gaffes all relate to the race issue. They should just have him steer away from race, because he got through yesterday without a major flub.
Yeah, I would agree. And I was expecting some flubbing, but he barely got through it. And he was reading it. He was reading a teleprompter, and when he introduced her, he was about to go to sleep. And that's why they didn't take any questions.
That's the only missing.
Well, that's when he loses his cool, when you challenge him. He loses it.
Exactly. And he will certainly be challenged
By Trump.
more than once in the future, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. The debates, they're going to be running interference for him, the moderators in the debate. What is it? I don't think they've announced the date. How do you think that their convention is going to look like what we saw yesterday? It's going to be people on video, television sets, and, they're going to be distanced like they were yesterday. I don't think our convention is going to be quite like that.
I certainly hope not. It was a major sleeper.
Well, yeah.
It has to do with the personalities involved, but a lot of it had to do with the format. It's a difficult format. And the mask thing is, no one should speak with a mask on. I mean,
I was watching MSNBC yesterday, and Andrea Mitchell was covering this. She was outside by herself, 20, 30 feet from the nearest person, and she was wearing a mask. And come on, and then I was watching Fox, and they had, I think it was James Clyburn they had on from his office. I'm not 100% sure because he was wearing a mask. James Clyburn, the Democrat, he was in his office alone wearing a mask while he was being interviewed over the video conference. He's in his office alone, he's wearing a mask. They wear the masks because they want people to be scared. They want people to, It's a protest. The mask is the other day when that press conference was going on where the president had to leave because of the shooting outside the White House, the NBC reporter, he other than he's black. The guy is black. He didn't have a gun. He said he had a gun and got in a gun stance, and he did not have a weapon. That's it. Nothing.
what is an isolated coup?
Well, I know this. He's not a Republican, or we would know. If he was a Republican, we'd know everything about him. I think.
That's true, but there still may be more to know.
Yeah. No, there's been no follow-up.
Any question mark.
Yeah, there's no follow-up. But, I forgot what I was talking about. Something with the map. Oh, yeah. So, I was watching the press conference when the president left the other day, and you know how the press reporters are wearing masks. The NBC reporter, when the president walked out, it was so abrupt that it was still on television. And the people in the press pool figured the camera was off because the president left. First thing she did from NBC, get up and took her mask off in front of everybody because she didn't think she was on TV. This has happened multiple times. It's happened with CNN too. The mask is a protest. It's like it's a prop in a protest statement. Yeah, that's exactly what it is. It's the middle finger to Trump is what it is. I think that's how I view it. But that's it's so absurd. I mean, obviously we've got to wear them in certain situations and in certain places.
In the next hour, I would like to. We love on the show to get feedback.
Yes.
On some of the important issues. This issue of Trump's 5 o'clock scheduled addresses to the nation, or press conferences, whatever you want to call them. I've seen 2 in a row now that just have really upset me, and that he's just asleep.
Yeah.
It's certainly understandable because the man works. I mean, he's obviously a workaholic, and he doesn't stop. He goes freight train. But they've got to do something about that. He does it's his body's rhythms. And am I the only one that's concerned about?
You are right on the money with that. I agree with you.
As sleepy as Joe, and of course that runs against our theme that we're trying to.
No, yeah.
So they've got to do something, whether it involves a pill, a caffeine pill, something like that, or whether they just got to figure out a way.
Well, why don't they have have them at like 10 or 11 in the morning?
5 is not his time.
No, he crashes at 5.
About 20 minutes he crashes, and then he comes back, but by then we've left a bad impression.
Yeah.
Again, I want to get feedback from the audience if anybody agrees or disagrees. If that's it, I would love to find out. This is just in my mind a creation.
No. Yeah.
Nation, but I don't think so.
Yeah. Well, listen, our number is toll free 1-888-GO-KANE 1. That's Kane with a K, like in Kamala. Kane, and the number 1. 888-465-2631. 2 hours down, 1 to go. It's 8 o'clock. We'll be right back.
And I want to tell you about Brighton Dental Care. I just had a lot of work done, and I avoided going to the dentist for a lot of years because I was afraid of the cost. But I went to Brighton Dental for my free consultation, which, by the way, he offers to all Steve Kane listeners. I had 2 cavities, I needed a crown on top and a crown on the bottom. If I were a horse, they would have put me down. So I scheduled my appointment for the next Saturday because Brighton Dental has Saturday appointments available, and they saved me a ton of money. And I will be a patient for life. Don't let cost stop you from taking care of your teeth. Brighton Dental gives Steve Kane listeners incredible discounts on all dental procedures, just like they gave me. Prices are so reasonable, you don't have to worry about the cost. So call Brighton Dental today at 954-922-4633. That's 954-922-4633. You can visit them at brightondental.com and tell them Lori Kane sent you.
95.3 FM, 96.9 FM, 103.9 FM, and AM 1470. WWNN Pompano Beach is the Florida Money Talk Network.
Stop paying an outrageous fortune for your tires. Go easy on your budget and buy your tires at Friendly Tire in Margate, where they have all the major brands like Goodyear and Firestone at discount prices that absolutely can't be beat. Steve Kane's tires for his Toyota van at the other shops, $175 a tire. At Friendly Tire, just $75 a tire. That's a $100 savings per tire. Tires for my daughter Emily's car, $135 at the shops around town. The price at Friendly Tire, only $65. That's a $70 savings per tire. These prices are out the door and on the road. Free mounting and balancing and no added charges. Friendly Tire have a great selection of good used tires too, starting at just $30 for most cars. Call my good buddy Friendly Mike at Friendly Tire. Tell him what you drive and he will give you a
yeah, I've heard that actually, Sarah, now that you mention it.
977-9445.
Leonard Nimoy.
977-9445. Online, friendlytire.net.
The Steve Kane Show.
If it involves Star Trek, I probably know about
at
it.
the Siegel Law Group. Veterans and spouses of veterans, you may be entitled to benefits that you are not aware of, including long-term care benefits. Call attorney Barry Siegel at the Siegel Law Group and find out what benefits are available to you. With offices in Boca Raton and Fort Lauderdale, call toll-free 1-855-FLA-3782. 1-855-FLA-3782.
You are listening to South Florida's longest running radio show, The Steve Kane Show. To call the show toll free, dial 1-888-GO-KANE. That's 1-888-GO-KANE.
All right, we are back. You know, Steve, you went to the chiropractor, Dr. Troy Lemaski, the other day. What did you go in for? What was wrong?
What I always go in for, my upper back, my lower back.
Yeah.
Every once in a while, I have to get adjusted.
Yeah.
One adjustment lasts a long time.
Well, let me tell you this. With Dr. Troy Lemaski, who's the brother of Dr. Janae Lemaski, he's a chiropractor, and let me tell you something. If you have any kind of back pain, joint pain, you know the kind of pains we're talking about, go see Dr. Troy Lemaski. He's a miracle worker. You know, you took me in there a few months ago. I had hurt my back. I don't know what I did. I was walking around like a hunchback. I was in so much pain. I was in so much pain. I was nearly in tears, and I couldn't even stand up straight. It hurt to get out of a chair. And I went over to Dr. Troy. He gave me one adjustment. The pain was gone, and it has not returned. And I've been standing up straight ever since. I mean, he's gentle. I mean, he knows how to. Oh. Oh. Yeah.
Changed my life. Because when your spine is out of line, those nerves get pinched. It's hell.
Oh yeah.
It's worse and worse.
Oh yeah.
Until you get the spine back in line, it's going to deteriorate.
Yeah, and if you've been in any type of accident, even if it was long ago, call Dr. Troy Lemaski. I'm telling you, you want to give him a call. His number listed at stevekaneshow.com is 954 954-463-3036. 954-463-3036. Mention the Steve Kane Show when you call. He does great work. All right, you want to go back to the phones? All right, you're on the radio. Good morning.
Good morning, Brian. It's Michael and Boca. How are you guys?
We're all right.
Hey, Michael, what's up?
Hey, I love listening to you guys every single day. But I got to tell you, Trump this is really a difficult thing for Trump because in any normal election, with picking of the vice president, it's always the rule of thumb, correct? That the president needs to just focus on his competitor and let the vice president focus on the vice president competitor. But this one, everyone knows, anyone in their right mind knows, that this is really an election about Kamala Harris being president because you know that's going to happen.
If he were to win, yeah.
Yeah, and I was listening to a couple things that really stood out to me over the last few days. I forget the name of the congresswoman, but I think it was, anyway, she had said something to the effect of that Joe Biden is movable because they move him farther left than he's comfortable with, and they're going to continue.
I saw that clip.
What they really mean is controllable. Controllable. They can control him.
Exactly. And then even Kamala Harris yesterday, the words stood out in my head that it turned out like, I don't know why, but she said, getting Joe Biden to be president is just the beginning. Did you hear that?
What does that mean?
It means that it's got to take him over once he wins the election, or once they win it for him.
That's right.
A coup. To resign. They want him to resign and make her the president, and then, Well, I'll tell you, you're right on the money, and Trump is doing something, Michael, that's so smart. He did it yesterday and the day before. He's defending Joe Biden. He keeps talking about how she was nasty to Biden. Yeah.
Yeah, he attacks Kamala about the way she abused Joe.
Yeah, he's defending Joe Biden. It is. It's good. It was Pamela Jayapal, or whatever her name is, that said that. How you say her name? Jayapal, whatever. You know who I'm talking. That's who said that. Yeah.
Now that you mention that, I do notice that every single time they try to bait Trump with the question, do you think Joe Biden is going senile? Trump never takes the bait. He always says, I feel bad for the guy.
Yeah.
He does. Right. He never goes to that, because you know what they'll do.
It's the right approach.
So
it's the right approach.
He'll win again. He'll figure it out. But
yeah. All right. Take care. Oh man, we got the the primaries are next week here in South Florida on the 18th. By the way, you want to make sure you vote next week. You too, Steve. 5 days till the primaries. Well, I don't know your district. Yeah.
He's in my district. He's supposed to be very good.
Yeah.
I remember his name. I got a mailer from him yesterday. Shows how effective those mailers are.
They go right in the garbage. Yeah.
I don't even remember his name.
Yeah, I know those mailers. Yeah. Well, it's very important. Very important. Scott Israel will probably be the sheriff after next week.
Who else is worried about that little sinking spell that Trump has at 5 o'clock?
I think everyone agrees with you on that. Yeah. Well, now that you bring it up, I think people agree with it. Yeah. It really pissed me off when Brett Baer cut away from Trump yesterday, too. Pissed me off. It was just getting good, and he cut in.
What I did, I moved down to
One American News?
No. Fox Business.
Oh, Fox Business had it.
It was just down one channel, one turn on the channel.
Oh, okay. Fox Business rarely does business. It seems to mostly be Trump.
It's a great station.
It is.
It's a great station.
Yeah, it is. When she talked yesterday, she was praising Black Lives Matter and Antifa. This is Kamala yesterday.
And we're experiencing a moral reckoning with racism and systemic injustice that has brought a new coalition of conscience to the streets of our country.
Yeah, that's like Louis Vuitton in Chicago.
Yeah. Is that what they call burning down
looting?
City across the country?
Yeah.
an act of moral conscience. Oh
yeah.
The library.
Yeah. Or Louis Vuitton, but not until we steal the Louis Vuittons.
That's going to, of course, the COVID is a major underlying theme in this election, but aside from the COVID, that street nonsense is going to end up being the focus, because I can promise you these I almost used.
Yeah.
Believe me, they've got this time to build to a crescendo, and it's going to get worse and worse and worse. Time to have the country explode on election day.
Yeah.
Common sense tells me, my intuition tells me, because these riots are carefully orchestrated, carefully timed, well organized, and they're saving their best, or from our perspective, their worst.
But the violence helps us. The violence helps Trump. Doesn't help them.
Thing is, there's got to be a huge back.
Did you see this lady councilwoman in San Diego at the beach threatening to throw everybody in jail if they go to the beach yesterday? You know, yeah, I'm not. It's hard to understand her because she's got a mask on. So I'll just tell you what she. So yeah, so she goes. I know it's ridiculous. She goes to the beach and she says they're going to start putting people in jail if they don't comply. You know, and people are fed up with that. Everywhere I go, this mask, the mask is the most divisive thing in American society in a long time.
I think the major thing that has people pissed off is that they can't turn on their television at night without seeing the country burning.
Yeah.
It has to be, it has to, number one, make people very, very scared, and following that, the next.
Well, this is the problem they have. They're in this liberal bubble, and like black radio stations nationwide are going to have a moment of silence for Breonna Taylor, who was killed in that police incident in her apartment, which is, police had a no-knock warrant. They went in. She was in bed with her boyfriend. Her boyfriend had a gun, and they got shot and killed. It's a tragic story, but they're going to have a moment of silence on the radio nationwide on black radio stations over Breonna Taylor. Yeah, dead air. Yeah, I know. Well, the thing about that is, for some reason, they think that the American people blame Trump for George Floyd, Atlanta, Breonna Taylor. These are nothing to do with Trump. He's not a local police chief. And then most of these things happen in Democrat towns. So I don't know why.
If the local officials don't condemn it, is going to be what's going to blow it all up.
Yeah.
That's what I think.
Yeah. I'll pull up the story here. Hold on. It says here, this thing here about Breonna Taylor. It's in the Hill, and this is going to annoy people. They'll just change the dial for the dead. Dozens of radio stations. Well, I was just a kid, but I remember they did that when John Lennon died. Every radio station in America did. I don't know how long it was, a thing of silence. But Breonna Taylor's not. John Lennon. Yeah, dozens of radio stations across the country today will pause their normal programming to mark 5 months since the death of Breonna Taylor, a 26-year-old black woman who was fatally shot by Louisville, Kentucky police officers in her apartment. The broadcast event is being coordinated by a local Louisville radio station and Taylor's family. It's not going to be a moment of silence. They're going to play songs that she liked. So they're not going to go dead air. They're going to play songs that Breonna Taylor liked. It's going to be the song Everything by Mary J. Blige. What went on with this, okay? She was a paramedic. She was shot and killed March 13th after 3 plainclothes police officers entered her apartment serving a no-knock search warrant. Police say they knocked and voiced their presence. Kenneth Walker, her boyfriend, was in the apartment at the time, and fired his gun at officers after he says they didn't disclose who they were. Officers returned more than 20 shots, 8 of which struck Breonna Taylor. There was some drug dealing going on in the building, and they had a warrant for that. Her apartment, saying that there was some drug dealing going on at her apartment. I don't know. I mean, it's a tragedy, but when they come in saying police, 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 you don't start shooting at them. I mean, that seems crazy to me. if that's what happened. But they're in this bubble where they think America. It's like that famous quote. I don't know anyone that voted for Nixon. Who said that? You know, that's kind of the bubble the Democrats are in with Breonna. They think the whole world. It's not a joke. It really happened. I don't know anyone that voted for Nixon.
Nixon McGovern, right?
I think so. I can't remember who said it. Yeah, Nixon couldn't have won. I don't mean, yeah, or San Francisco. But that's where the Democrats are so far as Breonna Taylor and these riots. They're in this bubble where they think that... I heard on CNN yesterday, one of the anchors said that there's a racial reckoning going on in America today, and President Trump is in denial over the racial reckoning that's going on.
The denial is on the other side. I mean, the fact is that most of these demonstrators
Steve
are white.
Kane Show.
The Great Black Rebellion is a white rebellion.
Yeah, exactly. The Black Lives Matter seems to be a white organization too these days when I see them on TV. You're on the radio. Good morning. Yeah.
I disagree with you and Brian on the news conferences that he needs to wake up. I'll explain what my theory is.
You mean wake up? Wake up.
Yeah, wake up. He's bored to death. He's bored to death.
Steve Kane Show.
First of all, he's not a politician.
Steve Kane Show. Hey,
He likes to ad-lib with the people. He doesn't like reading off of a script or a teleprompter.
Oh, yeah.
And these press conferences, reading everything, you might as well put it on a loop every day.
I know what you mean. He has to come out and read the facts and the figures. Yeah.
His body clock, it involves his body clock. I know I have similar experiences.
Don't start what?
That's why I understand what it's like when what he needs to do, what I would do. I mean, it's just that there are a lot of options for him. If he could take 10 minutes to meditate before he goes on the...
Have a Red Bull.
You know, something like, give him my, what do they call that? It's been so long.
I don't know. Yeah.
Monday, Padneon. Energy. Maybe it's just a caffeine pill. I don't know, but he's got to get his eyes open.
I think that he has to get those. I think he has to stop those news conferences every day because they're the same thing over and over.
No. The idea is not bad. He's reinforcing. He's doing what he should do, which is reinforcing his record, talking about his accomplishments, talking about all the realistic things that have gone on that his opponents are trying to drive out of your mind. The idea.
Yeah.
He's got to be awake.
Mm-hmm. All right, Richie, we got to run. It's time to check in, Steve, with attorney Barry Siegel, our estate planning attorney.
Mr. Siegel, how are things at the Siegel Law Group?
Hello.
How you doing, Barry?
Good morning.
Are you there? Good morning.
You hear me?
Yeah, we got you.
Okay, good morning. How are you gentlemen doing?
Very well.
Good. As we're all going through this pandemic, certainly the area of planning, whether people are dealing with their financial planning, their tax planning, and of course their estate planning, from what I'm hearing from many CPAs and financial advisors and other attorneys, people are very concerned about their planning. And what we have been doing at the Siegel Law Group to help people get their planning done, because many people are concerned about going out. I've talked to many clients on the phone who have not left their residence in months and months. And so we are offering phone consultations, Zoom consultations, or video consultations. And for those who do want to come in, we are taking great precautions to make sure that the experience is safe and make sure that everyone is comfortable coming in. And it's just very important to make sure that all of this planning gets done. And what we're finding is people not only from the general area surrounding where our main office is, Boca Raton, or where our other 8 locations in the Tri-County area are located, but people all over the state have now been calling in because they see how serious it is and how important it is to make sure that they have their affairs in order.
So now that you're doing so much remotely, Barry, you can help people throughout the state of Florida, no matter where they are, since so much is being done remotely. So so you make an arrangement to get copies of their documents to review, even if they're out of the South Florida area?
Absolutely. People are either mailing them, emailing them, faxing their documents, and then we can review everything. We can get the questionnaires out to them so they can fill them out, and we can hold the consult the same way we would if it was face-to-face.
And the great thing is there is no charge for Steve Kane listeners.
It's 1-855-FLA-3782, 855-FLA-3782, and online, SiegelLawGroup.com. All right, Barry, we'll finish out the week tomorrow. All right, take care. Oh, wow, that's great, helping people out of town now. So if you're one of our out-of-town listeners, give Attorney Barry Siegel a call. You know, they had excluded AOC from speaking at the Democrat convention. Well, that was going to be my punchline, but yeah, okay. Next topic. No, I'm kidding. No. Well, what happened was she threw a fit, and they gave her. It's so interesting how the story developed. Okay, if you follow it through the week. At the because today's Thursday. So Monday she wasn't going to be speaking. Yesterday was announced she'd be introducing Bernie Sanders, because they're going to do this. She's going to nominate Bernie Sanders, and they're going to have some fake vote for his delegates. And the fact that and now today we know it's only 60 seconds. This fits into what I was telling you yesterday, Steve. The Democrats are trying to lose this election on purpose, the establishment, to cleanse themselves of AOC. She shouldn't even do it for 60 seconds. I mean, that's really an embarrassment. She's supposed to be their star.
But they've got to try to work out some compromise, or they'll have a major revolt.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, there's that conflict between the crazies, the left-wing crazies, and the regular liberal crazies within the Democratic Party. That's an ever expand.
Yeah.
It's going to be true, right.
But yeah.
If they can't hold it together, they're really in trouble.
You know, when you...
But rest assured that... I keep forgetting her name.
AOC, the commie bartender?
The commie bartender. Should be able to remember that.
It was. I was just kidding. It wasn't a punchline. You know... Yeah. And they've the 1 minute is a humiliation to put her in her place.
Of course.
Yeah.
Interesting to see if it will continue to deteriorate.
She's you may not get this reference, but she's the Veruca Salt of the Democrat Party. Veruca Salt was the spoiled girl in Willy Wonka in the Chocolate Factory. Remember that girl? The original? Oh, it's a great movie. I was watching CNN yesterday, and Acosta was talking about, Trump has been mentioning the spy operation by the Obama administration, which includes Joe Biden. And listen, this is Acosta yesterday on CNN talking about the spying on President Trump during the campaign.
And the president also was slamming President Obama, Vice President Biden, accusing them of spying on the Trump campaign. That is just not true. That did not happen. Has not been proven. But let's.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah. Yeah. It did not happen. It's a lie. Well, Mark Dice. Yeah. Mark Dice made a video this week about Jim Acosta. It's very funny. It's a parody. But he made a very good case that Jim Acosta actually is working for Trump. Because, when he says things like this, it's so stupid. He compared him. You'll know who this is. I don't remember the guy's name. But there was a guy back in the 70s who used to go on television talk shows claiming to be this and that. And he was just showing how he could get on any TV show. and say anything he wanted in the news, or the interviewers would never do any fact-checking, and he would say outlandish things. Jim Acosta, I mean, he can't even keep a straight face saying that. There's no way he believes that didn't happen. No way.
As angry at Trump as he used to.
Well, because he's a superstar because of Trump. I think Jim Acosta loves Trump. He's a household name. I never heard of him before Trump.
The accommodation between the two of them, they kind of...
If it wasn't for Trump, I would never have known who Acosta was. He was at CNN for years. I never heard of him before. And he's a household name. And I'm sure he's renegotiated a better contract since Trump made him famous. He probably loves Trump as much as we do, Jim Acosta. He doesn't want to see him go. You think he wants to go in there with Sleepy Joe?
On a totally different note, I want to make a public apology to one of my listeners who I think I have slighted unfairly, Ray from Sunrise, who has always been a major fan of the show and called it. He's kind of a chronic, and his calls run a little long. And sometimes I get angry at Brian, because in the bottom line, it's up to us, Brian and I, as the hosts, to see that the show keeps moving. But Ray has a very nice way of keeping the ball rolling even after he's out of material.
I don't even know who you are. How can I kick you out? I don't even know who you are.
I mean, I was kidding around with Ray, but it seems like I've hurt his feelings. Ray, out there, if you're listening, please call in. I want to apologize to you publicly. I don't hate you. I don't know how you got that idea, but if for whatever reason I caused you to think that, it's not true.
Well, what I heard secondhand from a credible person is that Ray feels that you don't want him around, you don't want him on the show, you don't want him calling in.
It's absolutely not true.
I love Ray. Ray's great.
I do too. I have a soft spot in my heart for him, and I feel badly myself because I think the mistake was mine.
Now, Al the John, that's another story.
No comparison.
Yeah. Now, Ray's a good guy.
Ray's a good guy, and Ray, if you'll be kind enough to forgive me, we would love to have you back.
But there's... But you know, there's a good possibility Ray's at the golf course right now because he golfs every morning, so he may have missed your apology. Yeah. So if anybody out there knows Ray from Sunrise, let him know.
Put him right to the front.
Yeah. No, I've gotten out of hand with callers and have felt bad about it once or twice. Not too many times, but it's happened. It happens. Except Donald Trump, who makes no mistakes.
Well, he's making a mistake if he doesn't address that 5 o'clock letdown that he has.
Oh yeah, he'll take care of it. Word will get back.
None of them are sharp enough to recognize it as a problem. I mean, Donald can't be expected.
Let me tell you how popular Trump is. I was watching Fox yesterday, and I saw an amazing interview. I had the news on a lot yesterday because of this Kamala Harris thing. I was waiting for Kamala. I wanted to see her. I wanted to see Biden and her together, so I had the news on a lot yesterday. And there was a woman who was on Fox being interviewed praising Trump yesterday. If anybody knows her name, let me know. She was fired by Trump. She worked in the White House, and yeah, what happened was she got drunk and started running her mouth off at reporters and said something about the Trump kids that she thought was off the record, and they reported it, and Trump fired her. She's been fired from her dream job of working for the President of the United States, and even she's praising Trump. That was crazy.
I felt bad for her.
That's how popular he is. Even the people
She did with Trump what I did with Ray from Sunrise. I haven't written a book yet for Ray, but...
like a pamphlet. I mean, what could you put in the book? A pamphlet. Yeah. We are.
Break here. I'm going to give out the number. We'd like to get your feedback. Still want to hear... We haven't really gotten the massive calls on the 5 o'clock letdown with Donald.
Oh, as we go into the break, I want to remind people to call Debbie over at I Will Advisors, and you want to talk to Debbie about two things. One, have her review your homeowner's policy, okay? You need to review and this goes for commercial property owners. If you have a commercial property, she does that too. They don't call it homeowners, it's called property and casualty insurance. It's the same thing. Have Debbie review your homeowner's policy. You know, your homeowner's insurance policy goes up each and every year. And most people don't know this, most people have their homeowner's insurance connected to their mortgage, and it goes into an escrow. Their policy goes up every year. Your mortgage actually goes down for most people because you're paying off principal. And these insurance companies, they're very smart. The rate that your insurance goes up just happens to be about the same amount that your mortgage goes down every year. So you don't notice it. You don't know. I learned this secret years ago from Debbie. Call Debbie. She'll review your homeowner's policy at no charge. Make sure you're not paying too much. You probably are. And make sure that you have the hurricane coverage you need. Everything you want and need covered is covered in case a hurricane hits. And what you'll find with Debbie and her team over at I Will Advisors, you get your insurance and you forget about it until the storm hits, right? Debbie and her team become an advocate for you to make sure that the insurance company does right by you when that storm has hit you, okay? And you have a claim coming. And by the way, she also handles auto insurance. All right, so have her review your auto insurance policy at the same time. It costs you nothing. The only opportunity you have is to save money. 954-753-8080. 954-753-8080. If you're an overnight listener, you can call in the middle of the night, leave a message. They will call you back during the day. 954-753-8080. We'll be right back.
96.9 FM, 103.9 FM, and AM 1470. WWNN Pompano Beach is the Florida Money Talk Network.
Do you think you've come in contact with someone who has coronavirus? Steve Kane's wife Lori did, and she went to any lab test now of Coral Springs to find out if she has coronavirus.
So I came into contact with somebody who tested positive for COVID, and I was scared, and I needed results right away, so I went to any lab test now in Coral Springs. It was great. I didn't want to have to stay in line for 2 hours and have a swab stuck down my nose and in my brain. It was very pleasant. I made an appointment. They got me in within the hour. I was out of there within 20 minutes. Thank goodness the test was negative, and I can go back to work tomorrow. They also tested me for the antibodies, and I haven't been exposed. So do what I did. Go over to any lab test now of Coral Springs. They give great rates for Steve Kane listeners, and tell them we sent you.
It's worth 15 minutes of your time to have peace of mind and know that you and your family are safe. Any lab test now of Coral Springs is located at 955 North University Drive on the southeast corner of University and Ramblewood near the Coral Square Mall. You can call them at 954-906-5983. 954-906-5983. Any lab test now of Boca is in the Sandalfoot Plaza where the Western Beef is, south of Palmetto Park Road and north of Hillsboro. Call them at 561-237-5009. 561-237-5009. Make sure you tell them you heard about them on the radio.
Listen to the Steve Kane Show on iHeartRadio. Just search for W.
All right, it's that time where we check in with Richard Pearl from Simply Natural with the Health Report. Hey, Richard Pearl.
Hey, good morning.
How are you this morning?
I'm good, but I'm very disturbed about something that's going to be happening in amount of people say they won't take a vaccine under any circumstance, but that's now. What they're looking to do is have a focus on getting people willing to do it, and they're going to look at different areas to force this. One of them is they're actually right now looking at different messaging. One is for personal freedom message. They're looking at, for instance, they're looking at economic freedom message and self-interest messages and community interest messages and economic benefit messages and guilt messages and embarrassment messaging, etc. They're looking at anger messaging and trust in science messaging and you're not brave if you don't take the vaccine, because firefighters are doing it and doctors are doing it and frontline medical workers are doing it. So they're going to be forcing a vaccine message on people to hit all the major emotional points to get you to take a vaccine that, as of now, has the side effects to 100% of the people who are testing. This is about big pharma. This is not a natural day. 8271 Sunset Strip. That's the northeast corner of Sunset Strip and University Drive. You can reach us 7 days a week. We're open from 11 to 9 p.m. Call us at 954-741-4045. 954-741-4045. Don't be duped into being manipulated like cattle for slaughter.
All right.
Oh, I can't believe tomorrow's Friday. You know, yesterday they were calling Trump a racist because he was talking about how he tweeted about how the suburban housewives are going to be voting for him because they don't want low-income housing in the suburbs where people work hard to move to. Huge. Well, the media, a guy asked him about this in the press conference, and CNN was going on. They called him a racist for making that statement. I love how the liberals in the media assume that all poor people are black. You know, I mean, that's they're the racists. They're the ones that view that as a black thing. But, you know, you don't want a bunch of low-income rental housing moving into your neighborhood. It brings down your property value. And for most people in the suburbs, their home is their biggest investment.
Life working hard to try to get out of project-type environment. And all of a sudden, despite their work, they find themselves back in the project.
Yeah.
Courtesy of the Democratic Party.
Yeah. I thought they were against urban sprawl, the liberals. Now they want to put all this Section 8 housing in it. They used to be against suburbs. I guess. You know, Trump really, in his press conferences, he brings this up almost every day. It is a big issue. And I haven't heard anyone really articulate one of the reasons I used to live in Plantation, and my wife and I left Plantation for a few reasons, but one of them was there was too much low-income rental property being built in Plantation, and it has a dramatic effect on the value of your property because renters don't treat the neighborhood as well as owners because they don't care. They'll move somewhere else next year. If they don't take care of it, they don't care. Like, you know, if someone's renting a house in your neighborhood, you can tell. You know, they don't take care of the house. People that own it take care of the house. You know, renters in a neighborhood is bad news. That's what it's about. It's not racist. You know?
The black population lives in suburban areas.
Yeah. It never used to be that way. It never used to be that because it's the Trump economy. People are moving on up, right? The Jeffersons, you know. But everything with the liberals is race these days, and I don't get why they think it's historic for Kamala Harris to get a nomination for vice. She's not the first woman to get she's the third woman, and we had a black president twice elected.
First Hawaiian.
No, she's not Hawaiian. No, she's Indian. Her father's from Jamaica and her mother's from India. Well, if we do by those combinations, we'll have endless first. Everyone will be historic. I think Trump is the first Scot because his mother's from Scotland. I don't know. Come on. You know, they're always trying to. Everything's historic. Yeah. Well, I played this in the first hour. I played this in the first hour. I want to play it again in the last hour. This sound clip I'm going to play, I played in the first hour, but I want to play it here in the last hour because this is, Kamala Harris, this is great. This is from June of 2019. Don Lemon, on his show, had April Ryan as a guest, and Don Lemon was arguing with her because Don Lemon says that Kamala Harris is not African American and she's not in touch with the struggle of African Americans. Listen to this.
Number one, she is a black woman. She's a mixed race woman. When you see her blackness, but she is also South Asian. Her mom is South Asian and her dad is Jamaican.
April, let me listen. Yes. More power to her. And I think it's great. That should be enough. Listen, it is enough that she's a black woman.
We are not a monolith. No.
Exactly.
But they did the same thing.
No. I think you're not hearing what people are saying. The people
listen to this.
Blacking up people, that's BS. But to want a distinction to say, is she African American, or is she black, or is she whatever? There is nothing wrong with that. There is a difference between being African American and being black. People, Latino people are people of color, but they're not black. They're brown people.
She is a woman of color, but she is a black woman.
Okay, that's why I agree with that. But is she African American? No.
This is great.
African American, there is a difference. There's nothing wrong with that. No one is trying to take anything away from her. I think you're falling into a trap with that. All she had to do was say, I am black, but I'm not African American. That's it.
I'm not falling into a trap. I'm not falling. Let me finish. Hold on. I'm not falling into a trap by that. When she goes down her lineage, many Africans landed in Jamaica and all these other Caribbean islands. So she could indeed be African American mixed with others. But she is
Jamaica's not America.
But she is a black woman. She was born here. Okay, well, let's go into Ted Cruz.
See, so there. So Don Lemon says she's not African American. Have I ever heard what?
Have you ever heard such a bunch of nonsense?
I know. What? I know. Well, that.
Like Polish, maybe.
She is a weak pick.
Polish, but they have Polish American clubs.
Yeah.
Clubs.
You should join one.
It was Stanley Kowalski actually who said, "People from Poles are Poles, not Poland."
Yeah.
100% American, born and raised in the greatest country on this earth.
Yeah, but she does. What Don Lemon was saying is she's not African American. She has no connection to the struggle, no connection to Jim Crow. And another thing about her, both of her parents are Ivy League educated. Her mother was a scientist. Her father was a college professor. She's a bad pick for Biden. Bad pick. I guess she's the best they could find, though. Weak.
You don't know. She's a time bomb waiting to go off. Who knows what's going to happen?
Well, what's going to happen is her past. Did you watch Tucker Carlson? He did a great thing on her. He did a great segment on Kamala Harris in the beginning. I mean, really exposing her as a radical. I mean, it was pretty brutal. And it was... Well, Chris Wallace said that she's a moderate, contrary to what people on this network say. That's what Chris Wallace said yesterday.
There's a story, too.
Yeah. No, but, Tucker Carlson, I do, too. He's just, who do you hate? Who do you dislike the most, okay? Chris Wallace or Ben Shapiro?
Oh! Ben Shapiro.
Because I told you, they're starting... They're starting to use Ben Shapiro. They're starting to use Ben Shapiro on Fox again for some reason. I don't know why, but they're starting to use him now. I can't stand him. I just.
Phases.
They had him on during the last election, and they got rid of. Yeah, go ahead.
And then he eventually gets very old very fast.
Yeah.
Can't understand a word he says.
because he talks like an auctioneer?
I don't understand you. Yeah, actually, I hadn't thought of it those ways,
Yeah.
but that's pretty accurate.
Ben Shapiro says he talks so fast because he has so much to say and not enough time to fit it all in, so he has to talk fast. And he wasn't joking, by the way. He was serious.
Well, he's an idiot, and I don't know if it's that nobody has had the courage or the brains or the awareness to go up to him and tell him.
He sounds like Alvin and the Chipmunks. Yeah, he sounds like Alvin and the Chipmunks.
Even if I could understand him, I feel the same way, but he would win the prize for the most overrated talk show host in the country.
And he was involved, and I've been trying to get I've been trying to get the whole story on this, and I've not been able to put it together. But Ben Shapiro was involved in a plot which has been very successful to disappear Michelle Malkin from conservative groups. And Michelle Malkin has been disinvited. She's on YouTube. She does a show on YouTube now, but she said she's a victim of a conservative cancel culture.
How come political correctness doesn't work for Michelle? Oh, because she's conservative.
Yeah. She's conservative Filipino. All right, we got to take our last break. We'll be back. We'll be back with the Gold Report right after this.
Kane, and I want to tell you about Brighton Dental Care. I just had a lot of work done, and I avoided going to the dentist for a lot of years because I was afraid of the cost. But I went to Brighton Dental for my free consultation, which, by the way, he offers to all Steve Kane listeners. I had 2 cavities, I needed a crown on top and a crown on the bottom. If I were a horse, they would have put me down. So I scheduled my appointment for the next Saturday.
I've got to go to the bathroom
Dental
so
has
bad. I've
Saturday
had
appointments
so much
available,
water
and
this
they saved
morning,
me a ton of money.
and I don't have enough time to go.
I will be a patient for life. Don't let costs
I gotta wait till the end of the
from
show.
Taking care of your teeth. Brighton Dental gives Steve Kane listeners incredible discounts on
Dinesh
all
D'Souza is
dental
awesome.
procedures, just like they gave me. Prices are so reasonable, you don't have to worry about the cost. So call Brighton Dental today at 954-922-4633. That's 954-922-4633. You can visit them at brightondental.com and tell them Lori Kane sent you.
You've seen the ads on TV, and you've heard your friends tell you about MyPillow. MyPillow is guaranteed the most comfortable pillow you will ever own. Right now at MyPillow.com, when you use the promo code KANE, K-A-N-E, at checkout, buy one MyPillow, get one for free. But you have to use the promo code KANE, K-A-N-E, at MyPillow.com for this incredible offer. Buy one MyPillow, get another one free. Go to MyPillow.com right now. Use the promo code KANE,
I know, I'm dying.
K-A-N-E.
Listen to the Steve Kane Show on iHeartRadio.
I'm on my third cup of coffee, 2 bottles of water. All right, Steve, it's it's the most important part of the Steve Kane Show. Oh, yes.
Sure, the Gold Report brought to you by William Youngerman, William Youngerman Inc. William, of course, one of the world's leading experts on the precious metals. He's been advising clients on trends and movements in the gold and silver markets for over 50 years, and hopefully you have, since he's been with us on the Steve Kane Show over 15 years, hope you followed his advice, and if you have, you are way off better financially for following that advice. How is it looking today, William?
Steve, it's looking very good, Steve. The market took their nice little hit over the last couple days, as you know, and that correction was certainly needed and was looked for, and when we found it, we found a lot of buying coming in as a result. People were on the sidelines waiting for that opportunity to pounce on.
Sure, you can hear it.
And they
got to start first.
That stabilized them very quickly after hitting a low of $1,866 during one night. They sprung back over the $1,900, which looks to be at this point a support level for gold. Gold yesterday closed up $3.90 at $1,913.90 the ounce, while silver was up 70 cents at $25.46. Platinum closed up $6 yesterday at $921, and palladium was up $52, closing at $2,008. This morning we've got gold back up another $14.10 at $1,928. The range overnight was $1,911 to $1,944 per ounce for silver. or for gold. Gold, again, as I said, $1,928 right now. Silver up 75 cents. That's $1.45 in just 2 days, coming back up. As you know, the high for silver was $29.90 so far in this run. And overnight, we saw gold or silver trade between $25.22 an ounce to $26.83. Right now, $26.20, up 75 cents. Platinum up $19 at $940, and palladium is up $17 this morning at $2,025. The U.S. dollar index continues to move lower with the weakening U.S. dollar. That certainly is also giving strength to the precious metals as the rest of the world takes advantage of these lower prices in relationship to the dollar. So that's also adding fuel to this rally, and we'll see, I think, the dollar continue to weaken as we go forward.
All right, well, you, of course, over there at William Youngerman Inc., you purchase precious metals as well as sell them. To give the audience an idea of how that works and what kind of stuff you could use.
Sure. We, for over 50 years, we made a two-way market in all of the precious metals in all of its different forms, whether you've got old jewelry that you're not wearing anymore, or broken jewelry, or watches, things of that nature. It's a great time to turn them into cash or convert them into a more usable, tradable format, maybe a gold coin or something. But in the meantime, we buy it all, bring it in. We'll be glad to give you a free cash offer and appraisals for our Steve Kane listeners. Precious metals are in stock for immediate delivery, so we do have a good supply of gold, silver, and platinum. So a lot of places you have to wait weeks sometimes to get delivery. We have it in stock for immediate delivery.
So you want to be sure to get in on the tail end of this pullback. A great time to stop by William Youngerman, 150 East Palmetto Park Road. That is the Bank America building. You'll find William on the first floor directly across from the bank. William, give them their phone number over there.
1-800-327-5010, 800-327-5010.
And don't forget that museum quality website. Visit it at williamyoungerman.com. William will be winding up the week with you tomorrow, all right?
Okay, have a good.
Oh man, this is a good time to turn your things made of the metals into money over at William Youngerman, I'll tell you that. You know, there's we were talking yesterday about the debate between Pence and Kamala Harris. And Pence is going to clean her clock, and I'll tell you what, she's never debated. I was thinking about this when I was watching Tucker. He played that clip where she was questioning at a Senate hearing the guy from ICE, and, you know, are you aware that as soon as the guy goes to answer, reclaim my time, you know. And out in California, she's had a free ride. Pence yesterday came out and started counterpunching what Kamala was saying about the economy. She has a bunch of talking points rhetoric. Pence is calm, cool, collected, never loses his cool, never gets angry, and he's got facts on his side. He's going to clean her clock. She's going to look like such a light. Well, they only get one debate, the vice presidents, right? So she's going to look like a lightweight after Pence. I can't wait for that one. That might be the most exciting debate, Steve. Pence and Kamala, because the left are going to have such a build-up for it. They got so much riding on her, you know.
Man,
and he's a good debater. And the facts are on his side. She's just got talking points, you know, and he's also got some skills. Before he was governor, he left Congress and wasn't governor for a while. He was a radio talk show host who was syndicated on a few stations. Yeah. Pence was a radio talk show host. So he's used to interacting with people that, you know, that disagree with him. And you see him on some of these interviews. He's very, very good. I was really impressed with Pence in these coronavirus press conferences. And he would get these mainstream media, White House reporters. He handled them all. So Kamala Harris, I don't think she's self-aware enough to worry about Pence. I think she thinks she'll wipe the floor with him, and I don't even think she'll practice.
Talking to people who agree with her and who
tell her how great she is,
and who buy her non-facts as factual.
Yeah.
And she's not used to being challenged by somebody.
She said yesterday that Trump and Pence destroyed the Obama-Biden economy. What the hell was she talking about?
I heard that.
You know,
that was one of the funniest things I ever heard. That's
you know,
never.
You know, out of their minds. We have 90% employment, and this is amazing, Steve. Listen to this. This I couldn't believe this. I saw this I think I talked about it on the show Monday or Tuesday. I'm not talking about the rate. I'm talking about the actual number of people that are in the workforce working today. There are more people working. Think about this. After this year of COVID and lockdowns, there are more people, actual number of people working today than on the last day of Obama's presidency. More after they've had the whole country shut down, because the workforce is smaller now, right? Because the workforce shrunk under Obama, because the way the statisticians do it, you're only considered unemployed. You're no longer considered part of the workforce after you've been unemployed for 2 years. So we've got a larger workforce now. But there's 100,000 more people working today after everything we've gone through this year than the last day of Obama's presidency. So I don't, that's an example of something that Kamala will say that Pence will fillet right in front of her.
Well, we are
almost. Oh, before we leave, Steve, we got to tell people this. Wings Plus on Sample Road, let me tell you, okay, weekend's coming up. Tomorrow's Friday. There's nothing better than wings over the weekend. They have a lot more than wings, okay? They have great boar's head sandwiches, homemade soups, homemade chili. Yeah, they've got salads. Their salads are out of this world. Their French fries, oh man, they got the best French fries in the world. I'm partial to the wings personally, but the Wings Plus Sample Road location, they're open for dining inside and outside, and of course, takeout. And they're located about a mile west of University Drive on the south side of Sample Road. Wings Plus. You can ask when you're over there. I don't know. I'll find out. Yeah. But what I like to do on the weekends is I get the 50 wing platter. It's reheatable, and they give you directions on how to reheat it, and it reheats perfectly when you follow the directions. And here's a little insider tip. Okay, when you go and get the 50 wing platter, you can mix it up, right? Like you can get 25 medium hot wings and 25 lemon pepper, or 25 Cajun and 25 this. You don't have to get all 50 the same. You can get 25 of one and 25 of the other. I do that a lot myself. Wings Plus, Sample Road. Make sure you mention you heard about them on the Steve Kane Show. So
wind up with you tomorrow. We hope you join us, and if any of our friends out there, mutual friends with Ray, hear from him, ask him if he would forgive us for being rude to him last week when he called in. And we don't hate you, Ray. We love you, and you're a valuable part of the show. So don't be a stranger. Give me a chance to apologize on the air to your face. But that, of course, you got to call us.
Yes.
On behalf of our special engineer, our technical director, Tyler Kane, I'm Steve Kane. Brian, of course, you know who he is. He's my partner. See you tomorrow, 6 a.m. God bless America.
Stop paying an outrageous fortune for your tires.
All right, guys.
Easy on your budget and buy your tires at
Hey, listen.
Tire.
Thanks for watching. If you are new here, please subscribe, okay? And click the notification bell. If you're already subscribed, could you check and make sure you click the notification bell? If you're new, you'll love this show. If you love Trump, you're really going to love the show. If you don't love Trump, you will. I promise you, okay? Still enjoy the show. Anyway, my name is Brian Craig. This is the Steve Kane Show, if you're new here. This is the longest running radio show in the state of Florida. And also, the most pro-Trump radio show anywhere, right? We got the flag behind us. And make sure you check out my podcast, the Brian Craig Show podcast. I uploaded on YouTube. Had a great new episode just last night. All right, guys, take care. Thanks for watching. I'll see you later.